Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Khairul Nazmi bin Muhammad. My matrix number is AA191588. I am the leader of Group 18. The other members are Muhammad Azim Ahmad Fauzi, Muhammad Aiman Haikal bin Abdul, and Muhammad Najmi Fidaus bin Rahman. So today I'll be presenting about our case study or report. So first of all is acknowledgements. Firstly, we would like to praise Allah Subhanahu wa Taala for the opportunity, the strengths and weaknesses shown during our time to finish this case study. We have learned a lot during our time finishing this assignment. Our most humble gratitude is towards Prophet Muhammad SAW, whose way of life has always been our guidance. We would also like to thank Puan Nur Hafiza binti Samion, our supervisory management lecturer, for her guidance, patience, and understanding during our time finishing this project. We would also like to thank her for always pushing us to strive and giving us the encouragement and spirit to finish our project. It was an honor and a pleasure having her as our lecturer. Lastly, we are grateful to have a team that is really easygoing, that we can finish the project in the amount of time given. The deepest gratitude goes to Colonel Nazmi bin Muhammad, Muhammad Ahmad Haikal bin Abdul, Muhammad Azim bin Muhammad Ahmad Fauzi, and Muhammad Najmi Fidaus bin Rahman, as they are the greatest members everyone could have asked for. We are grateful that we can finish this case study together successfully because without everybody's commitment, we would not be able to finish this project in the amount of time given. Lest we forget about the people who have been involved in this project, either directly or indirectly, who has also guided us on how to finish this case study. Thank you, and we really appreciate your kindness.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Azim Memafazi. My matrix number is AA191548. So now I would like to talk about executive summary of our case study. So for the first one is overview. This report is meant to study what are the causes of environmental problems that occur in rivers in the Sangol area that affect the community in the Kelang Valley. In this section, in this report, will also be discussed on the impact of environmental issue and environmental controversies leading to water crisis. So the problem is the Kelang Valley is one of worst hit areas by the water crisis every year. This in turn provoked various speculation and anger among the locals. This is because they have to go through the suffering until they have to take the water from water truck, but it is still not enough. So the effect is this is the public knows that many effect that happen when crisis like this occurs. This has been proven since time immemorial. So it is difficult to do daily activities such as bathing, washing, cooking, and the others. So however, the people are advised to wash their hands often and take a shower after returning home due to this pandemic factor. So the government economy will also decline due to the need issue a high budget or use newer technology to replace the less performing system. So for the controversy is the several situation that occurs twice a year has become a commotion among netizens throughout Malaysia. Warm debates and discussions are often raised and discussed when about this environmental issue on most social media platforms. Many views and statements issued by the community and even experts have raised the concern of the entire community. So we will give the controversy on this matter in detail. So the last one is solution. The water crisis in Selangor does not seem to find a solution if the uh, superiors do not make any necessary changes. So one of the solution that can be uh, done is to bring new technology to replace the old system. However, this will involve a sum of money that can reach millions of ringgit Malaysia. So this situation is quite difficult to do because it is takes a very long time and causes the affected population to be more stressed. So to make it simple, everyone should be more concerned about cleanliness so that it's easy to get clean water sources. Second one is introduction. The water crisis is one of the biggest problems and misfortunes that most people pray to avoid, especially during this pandemic COVID-19. A large amount of water is used for a person as prevention of the spread of germs. Now, what will happen if this water crisis does not just happen one person but thousands? People cannot help but voice their worries and anxieties about their condition. In 2017, according to the Minister of Water, Land and Natural Resources (KATS), it was recorded the number of unplanned water cuts in Malaysia, and proving that Selangor is a state that most water cut cases with 19,061 cases a year. So there is a very big cases. However, this problem does not end there in the allotted time. The water cut crisis continues and continues to this day, causing the population in the Selangor, especially in Kelang, to voice their graveness about the incompetence of the party responsible for this unfortunate incident. Therefore, our team has decided to make a study recording to its roots, crisis, and the most effective approach that can be taken to stop this constant suffering. This study will explain in detail because it is very important to understand this problem should have ended earlier if action had been taken earlier. This research is underway research to provide an understanding of the water cutting crisis and the solution provided for this problem. This problem should be investigated as it interferes with comfort and disrupts daily routine for residents in Kelang. With regard to previous cases in Selangor, where the Semenyih River has been polluted by the dumping of illegal toxic waste, which greatly affects its filtered water sources supplied to the public. Such incidents may occur for water crises in Kelang.
Okay, so moving on to the next part of my presentation is causes of environmental problem. So, okay, the quality of our river is one of the keys in our daily life. The rapid construction of buildings and housing areas can cause our river to be polluted with chemicals. One of the largest water operators in Malaysia, Air Selangor, provides 8.4 million consumers in Selangor, Kuala Lumpur and Putrajaya with drinkable and safe water. In 11 regions, Air Selangor operates 34 water treatment plants, namely Petaling, Kelang, Shah Alam, Kuala Langat, Sepang, Gombak, Hulu Langat, Hulu Selangor, Sabak Bernam, Kuala Selangor, Kuala Lumpur Federal Territory, and Putrajaya Federal Territory. In 2016 and 2017, data showed that the most of the quality of river in Malaysia was in the Class 2 and Class 3 Water Quality Index. The introduction of the Movement Control Order (MCO) has limited commercial operations, human movements, and anthropogenic activities. The sudden decrease in human activity has directly influenced the quality of river water. Several findings made by local newspaper reporters, studies issued by the Department of Environment (DOE), and the Ministry of Environment and Water showed positive improvements in the quality of water rivers. Odor pollution. Odor is the sensation produced by an external stimulus which our sense of smell perceives. Excuse me. Therefore, bad odor can be defined as a sensory reaction that tends to cause displeasure or rejection. This perception, however, is highly subjective, provided that what is agreeable or unpleasant depends on the person and their capacity for olfactory detection. The presence of harmful substance is not necessarily demonstrated by the perception of bad odor. In the human body, however, prolonged exposure to a nauseating odor can trigger a reaction. Thus, exposure can lead directly to somatic reactions, especially gastric symptoms. In the case of particularly offensive odors, the incident reported in the New York Times, for example, occurred at the Marathon Petroleum Refinery near Detroit in 2019, USA. The release of a pungent gas caused the populace to be confined to their homes, given that the symptoms such as nausea, vomiting, headaches, or breathing difficulties may be created by the odor. So, for example, in Malaysia, water treatments in Sungai Selangor LRA Phase 1 SSP1, Phase 2 SSP2, Phase 3 SSP3, and Ratau Panjang were forced to halt operations after odor pollution was detected at the raw water intake source in Sungai Selangor. The water supply was fully restored only the next day. Another round of odor pollution resulted in the Sungai Selangor Water Treatment Plant (WTP) Phase 1 SSP1, Phase 2 SSP2, and Phase 3 SSP3 shutting down, affecting 1.2 million users in KL, Petaling, Klang, Shah Alam, Kuala Selangor, Hulu Selangor, Gombak, and Kuala Langat. Operations resumed the following morning, with the water supply slowly restored to normal starting at noon for the next 24 hours. On September 3rd, 2020, the water supply cuts affect 1,292 areas in Kuala Lumpur, Petaling, Klang, Shah Alam, Kuala Selangor, Hulu Selangor, Gombak, and Kuala Langat. The latest disruption comes only as households are reeling from an earlier disruption in September, also triggered by the pollution of Sungai Gong River, which feeds Sungai Selangor. This disruption was the longest for Selangor in 2020 yet, with the supply fully restored by 6 a.m. 6 days later. By 9 a.m. 6 days later. Next is illegal waste dumping. It is no longer unusual to see or find large piles of garbage, all household goods, with building waste or used items declared discarded by roadside, forests, and unnamed dumping sites. This pattern is on the rise and is becoming increasingly troublesome because it hinders the goal of keeping the ecosystem clean and can have significant impacts on wildlife and habitat. According to environmental protection agencies and departments, this malpractice is referred to as illegal dumping. It is considered unlawful eh, for the damage it does to the ecosystem. Land, water, soil, and air pollution in the neighborhood was mostly caused by illegal dumping. Chemicals and non-biodegradable waste products have an effect on the physical environment and the reverse by contaminating groundwater and soil. Waste can also spread weeds and pests, impacting agriculture and wildlife. Wildlife and domesticated animals can also die from the use of hazardous materials such as plastics and waste chemicals. For instance, Lembaga Urus Air Selangor (LUAS) in a statement said it received a complaint from members of the public at about 6 p.m. on a pollution incident in Kampong Baru Balakong, and the investigation found that it was caused by used engine oil being dumped at the location state. at the location. The statement said that the water would enter Sungai Balak and Sungai Lagat Pat Luas, had placed oil pads and oil booms at the scene to prevent oil from flowing into the rivers. It added that the investigation also found that the affected location was a stagnant water area, and it was suspected that the oil dumping was done by a third party. Meanwhile, Selangor police have opened an investigation paper on the incident following a report lodged by the State of Department of Environment. Next is development of Selangor is happening at a rapid rate. Another explanation for the recurrent water problems is that the growth of Selangor is taking place at a rapid pace. But the water supply and distribution system has barely been updated for many years now. Burst pipes happen regularly as the pipes were from a time when Selangor's demand for water was not as high as it is now, and they are not built to handle the increased pressure. Dr. Zaini also found an issue with the construction of the pipes themselves. According to him, the water distribution system in Selangor follows a radial pattern, and while there are advantages to this style, at least one burst pipe would cut off the water supply for the entire town. Although he suggested a grid system as an option that would improve the connectivity of the water supply, it would not be much of a use if there was no spare water for the water supply in the first place.
So um, my last part is effect of environmental problem. Number one is affected daily activities, of course, because people need uh, fresh and clean drinking water to to drink, to cook, to wash clothes, and so on. So if there are no other water, so people can do any important humans daily lives. Number two, economy. In recent years, the government has taken many initiatives to address this issue as soon as possible. However, this problem requires a very high estimate, as this is not a new problem. It also occurs due to pipe leaks and others. In addition, operators running business that need adequate water such as lobby, restaurants, catering will be also affected. The third one is increased fire hazard. This is because when there are no other water, uh, fire department will find it difficult to put out the fire because water are not because of water does not have water at the fire hydrant. So it is very dangerous to the people that live in the incident like fire. And then stick smoke from combustion may be one of the causes of air pollution. So last one is hurt flora and fauna. Just like humans, flora and fauna naturally need clean water sources to survive. Therefore, contaminated water sources will cause flora and fauna species to die as a result lack of water. As a result, extinction that occurs on flora and fauna will occur more serious effects such as ecosystem imbalance that occur eventually also becoming a life-threatening human being.
Okay, the next part is controversy around environmental problem. Reports and videos of clearer and cleaner skies, oceans, rivers and lakes and urban areas, seeing the return of animals and birds as human traffic and noise have been dramatically reduced. Improved API reading was due to a significant reduction in vehicle emissions, industrial stacks, and open burning. Studies also indicate that ground surface temperatures in cities have declined as a result of limits on human activities. All these positive outcomes are the unintended results of the steps that have been implemented to prevent the spread of COVID-19. What several governments have not been able to do in the past to address environmental concerns has been made possible by responding to the major health problem caused by the novel coronavirus. Indeed, the COVID-19 health crisis has overwhelmed the mainstream objective of economic growth. In addition, some of the environmental side effects can be expected to do the same if we do not deal with them urgently and seriously. Among these issues is water scarcity, which is a persistent problem in many parts of the country. Currently, the situation is dire in the northern states like Kedah, where farmers are suffering, and there will be grave consequences on Malaysia's rice bowl. In Penang, the authorities are praying for rain to replenish the very low water levels in the state's dams. The water crisis is compounded by climate change, with consequences that will be devastating not just for our economy but also for human lives. Recent scientific studies have provided ample notice that coastal populations around the world must be prepared for more challenging futures due to the melting of large ice sheets in Greenland and Antarctic. First of all, we need to tackle climate change head on. We are aware that the previous government has initiated a range of measures, such as setting up climate change committee and a climate change center, enabling climate legislation, and creating a national adaptation plan. The new government should not be stymied by these constructive measures. Second, there is an immediate need to resolve issues related to forest and soil protection, river management, flood prevention and mitigation, and to ensure adequate water supply in an integrated manner. Forests and trees are the base of ecology, water and management, and biodiversity. Forest conversion, particularly on hills for logging, planting, or other commercial ventures, should be halted or drastically reduced.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Anjumi Firdaus bin Rahman, and I'm going to present about claim and solution. The major cause of water cuts is water pollution. Most of the sources of water in rural areas are terribly polluted due to poor sanitation and lack of waste treatment plants. Other than that, the excessive use of groundwater in our agriculture industries is leading to the diminished yields and wastewater. Over 70% of our water is used to grow crops, and most of it is waste due to leaky pipes and poor watering techniques. Overuse and misuse of water leads to more water being wasted and squandered for pointless reasons. Furthermore, lack of institutions to advise on water treatment and management leads to mismanagement and wasted. It is also caused by the lack of infrastructure. For example, poor regions often don't have the fund or education to implement proper infrastructures such as water treatment and recycling plants. Of course, every disease has a cure. So this issue also has its solutions, such as donating to a charity. Charities help people in rural areas get access to water by constructing wells, sanitation, and agricultural systems. Rainwater harvesting is also one of the best solutions. For example, areas with very little groundwater reserve can greatly improve the way they harvest rainwater by building larger facilities and incorporating better technologies. Moreover, water conservation is absolutely necessary at the community level to reduce pressure from groundwater to supply structures like water bodies is important. Last but not least, spreading this message and increase awareness of citizens is crucial. Solving this crisis means that each citizen must be aware of crisis and take part in proper conversation and stopping water misuse. Educated people better on the cause and effects of the water crisis as well as they can do to help, so they in turn can teach others and raise awareness.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Aiman Haikal bin Abdul. My number metric is AA191682. For my part, I will talk about conclusion and appendage. So, first, conclusion. In the conclusion, Malaysia has gained some ground towards shielding and creating water assets in a manageable way. The public authority is submitted on advancing manageable turn of event and natural insurance as indivisible from water assets. After all the water issue experience, the public authority know that there can be no turn of event without water, and that the countries which water assets should be ensured and overseen cautiously, as it can mean the advancement or breakdown of society. Consequently, there is a dire need to figure an obvious public water resource policy to control the manageable improvement of water assets and water area procedure. Cost and focus on public activity water plants and venture programs should be complete. In particular, another public water assets appraisal should be authorized to find out when is the ebb and flow water assets circumstance. To conquer the issue of an excessive number of organization and government office, both at the government and state level, associated with water assets, a focal office for water, the executive should be set up at each state where it is generally fundamental. The National Water Resource Council (NWRC) can stay as the coordinating body at the government level. Next is appendices. Appendix 1. This is a graph about the river water quality before and during the Movement Control Order (MCO) in Malaysia. The blue one is clean, the orange one is slightly polluted, and the grey one is polluted. As we can see, Sabah is the most clean river water quality in Malaysia, and Sarawak is the most slightly polluted river water quality. And then Johor. Johor is the most polluted river water quality in Malaysia. Appendix 2. This picture is about cause of water pollution. Emission of pollutant to the atmosphere by source. 70% source of air pollution is from motor vehicle. 24.3% is from power plant. 2.8% is from industrial. And 2.9% from others. Population served with pipe water. The production volume of water supply 16,159 million litre per day, and 95.5% Malaysia population served with pipe water. This is the status of marine water quality based on Marine Water Quality Index. Okay. Last but not least, Appendix 3. This is the Water Quality Index classification for Malaysia. And you can look at this. And that's all from me. Thank you.